will, and it's in the midst of live streaming. So if you guys want to take it away, we should be up and running here in just a second.
Perfect. Nikki, as always, you get us going.
Awesome. Well, happy Monday, everyone, and good morning. I'm actually really excited about this week because there's a lot that's been going on in the mortgage world and in the interest rate market and things of that nature. So we've got a lot to talk about today. First and foremost, this week is Fed meeting week. So they are meeting today and tomorrow. We will see the announcement on Wednesday. They do plan on cutting the Fed rate again by another 1/4%, which is wonderful news. It will help with interest rates. A lot of that has already started to be put into the market with interest rates being in the mid to high sixes. With that being said, the other thing that happens this week is that the Fed gives their summary of economic projections. So basically what this is, they do this every 12 weeks. So they pick 19 Fed members that basically plot on a graph where they think that the Fed interest rate is going to be within the next 12 months. So for 2025, for example, it's 19 anonymous members and they all make their best educated guess as to where things are and what they are seeing from a rate standpoint. Well, in the most recent results of this, which we will see officially come out on Wednesday, 19 of the 19 members, over half of them are showing that they believe that the Fed should be cutting interest rates by 100 to 125 basis points for 2025. This could mean a lot of great news for us as we move into the next year and into the spring market, helping to push those interest rates down to help stimulate the housing market again. The one thing that is starting to kind of affect the bond market is that the inflation is actually going to show a slightly higher than the true inflation number as we head in, as we get the November results. This is because last November, the inflation was down or was a negative number by 0.01%. So when that happens, basically every 12 months, you have a 12-month look back of what inflation is and see how it goes up and down. And because last November that inflation was negative and this November inflation went up a little, we're going to see an increase in inflation from about 2.6 to 3%. So it's going to look or appear as though inflation is going up again, when in reality it's just a replacement of the prior year's number that's really having the largest effect on that inflation number. So it will mess with the bond market a little bit, probably push those interest rates up slightly, but it should come right back down once the market settles off of that. So with that being said, a lot of things are happening in the mortgage world. A lot of things are happening in the real estate world, especially down in Arizona. One of the big things that happened in Arizona specifically is that the Arizona Association of Realtors, who gives you access to the MLS down in Arizona, they have announced that they are not going to require realtors to be members of NAR starting in 2025. This is huge for realtors in Arizona because, as you guys know, your membership to NAR was mandatory in order for you to be able to access the MLS. That is no longer going to be the case in Arizona. Arizona has long time been the predecessor for a lot of these changes and a lot of these things happening in the real estate market, and that have kind of like from Arizona pushed through to the rest of the country. So we're waiting to see how other states are affected, but as of right now, the membership to NAR, at least in the state of Arizona, is going to be voluntary starting January 1st. So you will still be able to access the MLS in Arizona through the Association of Realtors and not be required to have a NAR membership. So that's a huge change for you guys potentially in other states as we kind of wait and see what happens in 2025 with, you know, all the NAR changes, everything from that standpoint and how it affects the overall market and the overall membership from your guys' side. So that's kind of huge. The other thing that happened this past week is has to do with trigger leads. So in the mortgage industry, when we pull credit from Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Although we specifically in the mortgage world do not share your personal information, once you have your credit pulled with Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, that data information, what we use to pull your credit, in other words, your phone number and your email, is sold to other lead generation companies, and those are what we call trigger leads. What'll happen is sometimes if we do not remove the phone number and the email and give you an opt-out option, the client will start to get call after call after call after call after their credit's been pulled because that lead has been sold off and people are picking it up and trying to contact the client in order to get them to do a mortgage with them instead of the person that pulled their credit, and just start offering rates and things like that. And it can be very harassing. Well, there was some legislation that was included in the National Defense Authorization Act, or the NDAA reform this year, that was going to put a stop to those trigger leads. Unfortunately, that legislation, or that part of the bill, has been nixed. So we did not get any sort of help from that standpoint as far as preventing those trigger leads from happening. So we're hoping that this year there will be some additional legislation added into some bills for 2026, but it does not look like in 2025 we're going to be able to prevent those trigger leads, which is really unfortunate. On our end, and as a lender, so what we do to help the client is, number one, we remove their phone number and their email address before pulling credit, which is huge. And also we pre-screen opt out. We have them do a pre-screen opt-out. Basically, what that means is there's a national website that you can go to that will give the client an opportunity to opt out of these trigger lead situations. And it will drastically reduce the number of phone calls that they get, and most of the time eliminate the phone calls that are coming in after their credit is pulled. So there are some things that we do on the mortgage side already. It's still a little disappointing that those trigger lead legislation was kept out of the bill, or was nixed from that bill reform, but we're really hoping that we can get it back into the bill and passed by next year. Other than that, let's see here. I think that's a lot of information, a lot of things going on. So a lot of things happening, but yeah, I'm excited this week, like I said, to have another Fed cut of the interest rate. That's awesome. Keep it going in the right direction, and hopefully help us through the new year to get to that spring market that we all want and need.
Absolutely. Any questions, either Cari on the live stream or here, who anyone that's come on the call here live?
I don't see any on the live stream.
Okay. Any here before we keep going? Good. No, that's all great information. And I kind of had remembered about the trigger leads, but I hadn't thought about those in a while. So that's a really great reminder. So let's say that as a buyer's agent, and we're not, our buyers want to work with their bank or not go with you specifically, what do we say as the agent, or how do we go about, talking with our buyers about what exactly to say to their lender or their bank, if it's not you, because you would do that automatically because you're
Yeah.
on.
Well, it's just a good opportunity during the pre-approval discussion. Hey, you want to, who are you working with as a lender? Please, when you are working with this lender, ABC, please make sure that you ask them about trigger leads and doing an opt-out, so that you aren't getting multiple phone calls after your credit is pulled. I've heard it, and just say I've heard it happens, and I've seen it happen. You can get multiple phone calls. It's important that you have an opportunity to opt out before those phone calls start coming.
Yeah. So they
'Cause it
really
can be
just
very
have to
harassing.
attention.
Like it can be like 80 or 90 a minute. It's crazy, or an hour, I'm sorry. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, so they just have to at least mention it, and the person, the lender, or the bank will understand and know what they're
They
saying.
should.
Okay.
And if they don't, I
That's a
would
red flag.
maybe question or get a second opinion, maybe. I don't know.
No,
They should know what that is.
no, that's fair, definitely. Good, good. Well, I appreciate that. Cari, do you have anything that you want to highlight or go over?
No, I don't. I think that I'm hopeful that everybody's just using this time of year to give
Mhm.
people updates, reach out about what's going on in the market. What you just heard would be a great kind of update for the new year, while you wish people a Merry Christmas. And just this is the easiest time of year to touch base with people, because they appreciate the call. They're all in a good mood.
Mhm.
They're not working as much. They're taking time off starting soon, if not already. Kids are off school. So I hope that you guys are just taking advantage of communicating with your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have had a couple agents that talk about their top like raving fans, or the clients that give you, the most referrals, or the ones that you're always top of mind. And what I was taught early on is my career is absolutely yes, treat everyone the same. And also treat them, maybe put them on a little bit of a different level. So think about, as you're going into this holiday season, how you're treating your biggest raving fans, or how you're treating that top percentage of your sphere of influence, or the people out there that really have your back and really help and contribute to your business. Like Cari said, it doesn't have to be monetary, but it definitely should be a handwritten card or a pop by with a little something on their front doorstep. Again, just something to set yourself apart, to set them apart and thank them really for everything that they contribute to you and your business, and staying top of mind. Absolutely. I think that's what a few of the agents that I'm coaching are doing, because some people, you can't do that with everyone because of time or cost potentially, but it is a good thing to get into the spirit of and get into the repetition of doing every year.
Yeah. And a quick video and text to go with it for the holidays is free. So that's just takes time.
I love it. Yeah. So block that time. Definitely be very specific about how you're doing it, to who you're doing it. And I talk about that in a little bit in my business planning as well, as it's knowing, especially with leads, like I have buckets of leads. So if it's 0 to 3 months, they're A leads. They deserve a lot of your attention. 3 to 6 months is more of a B lead, definitely on the list, keep in front of them. And C leads are 6 months plus. So if you think about that, but also with your past clients and maybe how much you stay in front of them or how much they communicate back with you, they're different buckets, but you're treating everyone with that type of urgency. Or, it's not necessarily, I hate to use the word better, but it's just elevated because they are elevated in your business, whether it be a lead or a past client or a raving fan. So I know November is the gift, or the month of gratitude, and December is the gift of giving. So even if it's giving something of value, like you said, Nikki, a call or a text or a video or an article that makes you think of them, or something that is relatable to their life that you can find as a free resource and pass along. Just being that top of mind and going above and beyond and putting some thought behind what you're doing can make all the difference to someone. Yes. Well, good. Well, anything else? Anybody have any questions or comments before we jump off? I'll give you an extra few minutes here today to get on those calls and text messages and start your lists and really be intentional. Well, good.
Thank you, everybody. Hi, this is Aminata. How you guys doing?
Yeah. Well,
Hi.
yes,
Hi.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever it is you're celebrating with your family, because we will skip next week's call and be back here on the 30th. So if you need anything, obviously you can look any of us up in the meantime. I know I'll be around and working and helping agents. So until then, we'll talk on the 30th.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Merry
I appreciate
Christmas.
you. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.